And Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, out on bail to campaign for the Lok Sabha elections, reacted sharply to Pakistan leader Fawad Hussain Chaudhry's comment on his voting post on social platform X. Kejriwal, who voted with his family, criticized Fawad Chaudhry for interfering in India's internal matters, urging him to focus on Pakistan's issues instead. Kejriwal was released on interim bail earlier this month after spending 50 days in Tihar jail on money laundering charges related to an alleged liquor scam. Chaudhry had previously praised Kejriwal's release and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, likening Gandhi to Jawaharlal Nehru for his socialist views. Prime Minister Modi, in fact, mounted a scathing attack on the India alliance, calling it a partnership with Pakistan, following Fawad Chaudhry's comments as well, suggesting Pakistan's support for Congress also reveals their deep alignment. In between, the biggest irony is a country's political leader is more interested in India than his own nation that is dealing with a number of crises, be it even a stable government or their own party chief who's been locked up in jail for some botched up charges. We'll discuss this with our guest. Joining us on the platform at this point in time is Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, former diplomat, Professor Madhav Nalapad, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, also with us on the show. Surinder Singh Lali, senior political commentator, joins us on the program as well. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, defense expert, on the show as well. And General A.K. Sivach, defense expert, is also with us on the program. All right. Professor Nalapat, a typical, problem with Pakistan, when their own house is burning, they'd rather look away and, try and figure out solutions for a problem that is none of their business. In fact, this also explains the deep pathology that Pakistan has been living in. That ignore your own problems, ignore your economy, forget about how the deep state is controlling the economy and everything related in Pakistan, but focus on India, because that is what gets you the likes, that is what gets you the engagement, and that is what gets you the votes also in Pakistan.
Well, Vineet, let me point out that by Pakistan, we're talking about the Pakistan military. And the Pakistan military is today functioning as a satellite of the Chinese military. And so what we can call the Sino-Pakistan axis is very active against India. There is no question but that Pakistan would like to equate itself with India. Oh, we are suffering terrorism and so are you. So we are in it together. Absolute rubbish. The fact is, Pakistan has been one of the leading state sponsors of terrorism, and now it's functioning on behalf of some other countries also in trying to foster terrorism in India. There's a very big difference between the perpetrator of terrorism and the victim of terrorism. So Mr. Chaudhry's comments were basically trying to equate Pakistan with India, which is nonsense. Now, what is important in this context is Arvind Kejriwal reacted in a way which, frankly, all of us would welcome. Definitely, this is the way we would expect an Indian politician to welcome. Unfortunately, some of the politicians in India do not respond in this manner. But so far as Kejriwal is concerned, he is the head of a party that runs the very important border state of Punjab. I was witness personally way back in the 1980s to how Punjab was basically brought into a crisis by, if I may say so, tolerance of extremist elements, tolerance of elements that were supported from across the border. And I don't want to name names, but a former president of India was frankly, his enemy was his successor, Darbara Singh, and not and during the time when he himself was running the affairs of that particular border state, he basically was very lenient towards individuals such as Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale. And the result is they grew to monstrous proportions. Darbara Singh tried his level best, but Darbara Singh faced a terrible problem because the ex-Chief Minister of the Punjab used to constantly snipe at Darbara Singh. And finally, he had to step down, but he did a great job. Similarly, Bayan Singh did an enormously good job under Narasimha Rao of bringing order in the Punjab, and something for which he paid with his life. So I'd like to say that I think Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, his party is running Punjab, and it's incumbent on his party to show that it can ensure that the Pakistan hand and the Sino-Pakistan hand is removed from the Punjab especially, for example, the narcotics lobby, the Hawala lobby, the smuggler lobby. All these lobbies are very, very active, and they're all basically supported by the Sino-Pakistan lobby. So it's very important to cleanse Punjab of the narcotics menace. It's very important to cleanse Punjab of elements of the Sino-Pakistan lobby that are active there. He should not make the mistake that the Chief Minister who preceded Darbara Singh in the 1980s made, which was allow his government to coddle such people. So that is where the test comes for Arvind Kejriwal, and for the country's sake, I hope that he passes that test.
Ambassador Mukherjee, Pakistan's economic growth is stagnated at 1.8%. The inflation in Pakistan at this point in time is 26% per annum. The poverty ratio is hovering around 40%. This reminds me of a very famous dialogue from a very old movie, Hindi movie, ma'am, called Waqt, in which it was said that people who live in glass houses should not be throwing stones at others.
Well, first of all, Vineet, it's a very sensitive point for Arvind Kejriwal, like Rahul Gandhi, because they have been praised systematically by the Pakistanis and by the Chinese, or what we from the Foreign Office used to call the kiss of death. Naturally, in the middle of a national election, Arvind Kejriwal rejected the kiss of death, because to get praised by a Pakistani politician in the middle of a national election and to be given warm and good wishes for his success is, as Mr. Kejriwal correctly pointed out, and I really don't think he had any option, is rank interference in our internal affairs. But more than that, quite apart from the folly of comparing Pakistan with India, and frankly there is no comparison, these comparisons only happen in Pakistan, and they are only picked up by people in North India. People in other parts of India don't care at all about Pakistan. They are bored with the continuous harping on Pakistan in the north, and they think that we should just move on, and I as a Bengali completely endorse that position. We should just forget about Pakistan and focus on China. But in this particular case, in a national election, Mr. Kejriwal has shown that since he was a former officer of the Indian Revenue Service, therefore he has some government training, he has reacted smartly, cleverly, and in a timely manner. Why? Because he doesn't want to fall into the kind of trap that Rahul Gandhi has fallen into time and again, when the Chinese embassy have leaked out photos of his meeting the Chinese ambassador, accepting Chinese funds for some of the activities of the Congress party, etc. This is not a look good situation in the middle of a general election. And Mr. Kejriwal, being a smart former government servant, understood that in a way this is a trap he should not fall into. That being said, I do believe that it is time that we, once the elections are over, that we tell the Pakistanis firmly that they should not compare themselves with us in any way. They are moving into failed state status, and we should be actually more worried as to what we should do when they actually fail as a state, given that they have nuclear weapons, how to manage the fallout, how to control our borders, how to ensure jihadis don't come in with refugees, etc. That is what we should be worrying about. Not worrying about whether some failed politician from a failed political party makes foolish comparisons between Pakistan and India. This is not even worth discussing because it is so ridiculous.
General Sivach, the reserves that Pakistan has, they stand at 8 billion at this point in time. Their economy is in shambles, and in fact, it's a well-known fact that Pakistan could also be brought to a juncture in the very near future where they will be forced to sell their nuclear armaments. And why, would a leader like Fawad Chaudhry, who's also, said unsavory things about India and Prime Minister Modi in the past, be interested in what's happening with the Chief Minister of Delhi rather than focusing on how to arrange the interest that they're supposed to generate to give back to the IMF?
Absolutely. I see, Vinit, the fact is that Pakistan is in a turmoil. They are in an economic crisis. They have today a debt more than about $186 billion. They need $4 billion every year just to pay the interest of the loan taken. In fact, this year itself, they have to pay back about $25 billion. They have no money. IMF is not ready to give them a loan until and unless they restructure the taxes and reduce the subsidy. You see what is happening in POJK today and Gilgit-Baltistan. People are on the road. People are saying that we are not going to get this subsidy reduced. We are going to march toward India and we want to join India. Now the question comes is that as far as Pakistan is concerned, their economy is so bad that rupee has fallen down almost 87% in 1 year. It is about 300 rupees per dollar. Their investment is not coming. Their textile industry, which was the only export industry, that is totally, completely now stopped working, and their imports are increasing. Now, instead of looking inside, they are trying to compete with India. No, the point is that in spite of this, their K2 desk is still very active. That is Khalistan and basically Kashmir desk. That is a cause of worry. You know, we keep on saying we don't have to worry. Pakistan is just a deterrence now. Pakistan is not what it used to be earlier. But we must not forget that basically Pakistan cannot change. Pakistan will have an anti-India stance because this is dictated by Pakistan army. You know, every country has an army. But unfortunately, in Pakistan, army has a country and a small country with a big army. And therefore, just to justify their survival, they have an anti-India sentiment and create an imaginary threat from India. So the point is we have to be very alert. And it's very nice of Kejriwal to wake up and point out correct finger toward Fawad Chaudhry and tell him that it is our internal situation. You don't have anything to interfere in that. In fact, we should have spoken and shown them the light much earlier than what we are showing. But all said and done, one can say with a lot of authority, Pakistan is in such a grim situation that there is a chances of civil war taking place and Pakistan getting into a four-part Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, Sindh, Punjab, and POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan joining India. Or alternately, Pakistan can give some portion of Gilgit-Baltistan to China to basically square up their debt, or they can also sell the nuclear weapon, which you were trying to now give a hint. This is very much possible. And therefore, the US and the world body has to watch out that Pakistan can go to any extent just to keep floating. But certainly it looked like that is it on the threshold of a civil war, and wherein the things will get out of control and nuclear weapon can also fall in the hands of terrorism. And that will be the worst case scenario. Vinny.
All right, Mr. Lali, where do you stand on this? Is it befitting of the analogy, Begani Shadi mein Abdullah Diwana?
Vinny, it's such a pleasure and honor for me to be here. And यहाँ तो अब्दुल्ला की शादी भी नहीं है and Abdullah is not even invited. Forget Diwana. But having said that, Vinny, I have been to Pakistan over 5 times. So what I'm going to tell you next is absolutely based on my hands-on experiences than to be, reading books and listening to distinguished people across the world. Vinny, I often say in my discussions that Pakistan is not a country in just political crisis, not in a financial crisis. It's an identity crisis. Because please understand that the two-nation theory miserably failed, and look at the way Pakistan is today. And now every time a Pakistani who's, worth his salt looks up the internet and compares, Masood Gold has more gold than Pakistan, and the budget of municipal corporation of Maharashtra is maybe 3 times more than, the GDP of Pakistan. They keep running around begging for $1 billion. I think for $1 billion, Mukesh Ambani does not even sit in the meeting and probably has one of his top guys attend that meeting. So this is what I feel, that they seek validation by comparing themselves to India. Any educated Pakistani, well, looking at the mirror would know that they've actually lost out and miserably failed the way Pakistan is, especially the way India is, just going up north, and especially, there are more Muslims in India. So I think it's an act to seek validation. I mean, I'll give you a poor example, but it is similar to what Arvind Kejriwal does. Every time he gets up in the morning, he takes his pot shots at Narendra Modi. I mean, 22 seats, he wants to change the country and he wants to associate himself in the process with somebody who's won 303 seats because he gets validation in the process. That's one. And number two is that I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised in the way he has been hobnobbing with with the K elements in Canada and America, and the worst kept secret in the world is that ISI funds them. So maybe he's met Mr. Chaudhry or one of his proxies at the meeting because Aam Aadmi Party still hasn't had a press conference on the $16 million that Pannu said that he has given to them. They just said these are a business charge. I mean, they have a press conference at the drop of a hat. I mean, I felt really bad when Arvind Kejriwal this morning came and said that my mother couldn't come to vote today. I mean, God bless her. We all have senior citizens. But he could have paraded her yesterday, through 45 degrees, through the lush manicured lawns of his palatial house. And yet, the honorable lady couldn't come. So I think there could be two theories to it. And one of them could be that he's beholden to the K lobby because ISI funds them. This is what my limited take on it.
Mohammad Ali Shah, where do you stand on this? When the former USSR disintegrated, there was a lot of talk about what's going to happen to their nuclear arsenal. And a lot of this arsenal was judiciously distributed with some of the erstwhile, states or partners of the USSR. And the whole world, in fact, appreciated what Russia did then. But when it comes to Pakistan, no such judicious system can be expected because we know that as long as there are leaders like Fawad Chaudhry, Pakistan is on the wrong track.
Absolutely, Vineet, and I totally concur with all my respected panelists over here. They all spoke a lot of sense. Now, the very fact is, Fawad Chaudhry, I'll tell you what Pakistan's basic problem. It's not that they are because they are in debt, but they are not upset about their problem. वो अपने दुख से दुखी नहीं है. They are upset because of the neighbor's happiness. वो दूसरों के सुख से दुखी हैं. That is the basic problem with them. So they will try all their ways and means and methods. And he got a nice chop. उसको हिंदी में कहेंगे झंड हो गई. Fawad Chaudhry, basically Arvind Kejriwal. I'll give an analogy over here. I'll draw a parallel to a few years back. My uncle, Mr. Nasruddin Shah, was trolled for some reason very, very badly. Imran Khan decided to jump in the fray. So Imran Khan said, okay, he snubbed him back then and there, right then and there. He said, Mr. Khan, you look after your own country, you have enough problems over there. And the very fact is, problem in Pakistan, they are in debt. Shahbaz Sharif went to UAE with a begging bowl. He got 100 Arab dollars from them, all right. But then he also gave a statement that enough of a begging bowl. That means he accepted the fact that these are the terms used by him. Bhikari ka katora lekar. So that is the problem with them. They are suffering in economy. Even if they would have, and UAE is just taking them for a ride, by the way. They've just declared it. There's a lot of difference between the cup and the lip. So they've only said it right now. Even if they do get the funds, half of it would be eaten up by China. Half of it, their corrupt politicians will eat. And the remaining chiller will go to the investment in their IT companies. IT companies, not information technology, the international terrorism that they specialize in, basically. So Fawad Chaudhry and such people are trying to show, it can also be, I see it this way, it could also be a ploy for them against India in a way that, okay, to divide us. Somebody will say, oh, you've got Pakistani friends, you've got Pakistani links. But I don't think that would be the case. I think whatever all said and done, internal matter, internal politics, एक घर में भाई बहन तो लड़ते हैं. They are fight between siblings in a house. But the moment there's interference of a third party, we do not wash dirty linen in public. We, in fact, right now, 8 states and the union territories, they have voted now. And the pre-ultimatum phase of the Lok Sabha polls. By the end of this phase, a total of 486 out of the 543 Lok Sabha seats would be the complete polling now, which means 57 seats left for the 7th phase. Now, this is a very, very crucial period. So Pakistan would definitely try to jump into the fray and try to garner attention. And as one of the panelists rightly said, to garner validation, but they have no hope in hell. Let them sell donkeys. शेर के भाव में वो गधे बेचे उन्होंने चीन को. So let them continue doing that. And that's what
We've run out of time. I'm going to take quick closing comments from Dr. I beg your pardon, Professor Nalapat and Ambassador Mukherjee and Mr. Lali as well. Professor Nalapat, it's also about seriousness. This is the same minister who in fact wanted Elon Musk to come and invest and make Tesla cars in Pakistan. And of course, he was made the butt of jokes on Twitter, now known as X, for days and days on. This is the kind of intelligence that we are dealing with when it comes to, the people who run Pakistan.
Look, Vineet, the fact of the matter is that this government, led by Narendra Modi, it's been very tough on the correct stance that no talks if terror cannot go together with talks. Either you stop terror or there's no question of having talks. Regarding China, you have seen the way border fortifications have been built up. You have seen the way troops have been mobilized. And Major Shah can confirm what I'm saying. A very strong stand has been taken that, look, enough is enough. We are not going to tolerate any effort at salami slicing by you. So quite clearly, both these countries are very unhappy with this kind of strong governance, with Prime Minister Modi and his policies towards them. So so they are probably hoping that they will get a little more leeway should some of the forecasts of the doomsayers come true, and there be a change of government. The reality is, quite frankly, that the situation regarding China and Pakistan, they are enemies of India, and they will continue to be enemies of India, and they will look for any opening. So I again repeat what I said. Punjab is a very critical border state. The narcotics industry there, the Hawala industry there, the smugglers there. There has to be a crackdown on them. And secondly, any element which is supporting the movements for secession, these elements have got to be treated in the most strong manner. No mercy has to be shown to them, because I have seen in Punjab, when you have chief ministers who frankly don't understand what is being the broader implications of what they're doing. They coddle extremists. They coddle fanatics. And these fanatics grow, and these extremists grow, and throw an entire state and a very noble people of that state into utter violence and chaos. It should never happen again in the Punjab. Arvind Kejriwal has been given a responsibility by the people of Punjab, and all over India, people are watching to see what kind of action he is taking to ensure that the Sino-Wahhabi lobby does not get activated in the Punjab in the way that, unfortunately, errors in the past by past chief ministers and possibly some elements in Delhi caused to happen in the 1980s. It should never come back to the 1980s in Punjab. It should definitely never come back to that.
Absolutely. And Ambassador Mukherjee, let's also not forget that this is the same minister who said after India's moon landing that itne papad belne ki kya zarurat thi? You can see the moon from the earth, and that's enough for Pakistan.
That is why I'm saying that it is quite ridiculous to even spend time debating what he said. What is important, and I completely agree with my co-panelists and with you, is that Mr. Kejriwal would do better to focus on what's happening in Punjab, to take a strong position where he holds government, to secure that frontline state, because like Bengal, Punjab has always been at the forefront of the brunt of the hostile neighborhood just across its frontier. The other issue here is that, as has been stated, we are now at the last phase. 59 seats, very crucial, and there's nothing better than the Pakistanis would like, but to have an unstable and weak government in India, so that the focus and pressure which has been on them for two governments of Prime Minister Modi is dissipated. That is what they are praying for, the Pakistanis and the Chinese. So we have to be extremely careful until the elections are over and the
Absolutely, ma'am.
counted. We should be very, very careful about these efforts across the border to divide us and to divide our people, because whether they are opposition or ruling party, they are all Indians and they all believe in the unity of India.
All right, ma'am. On that note, we have to take a break because we've completely run out of time. Appreciate everyone joining in and pulling in with their perspective and thoughts.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.